Last time the edition wasn't right for the tracks, but the good news today, I found the right edition. So we can also see some of the extra points, the one about the internet, I think. Where is it? I think the second point, was it the second? Yeah, here it is. Point number 1, 2, 3, 4. The one about Facebook and Twitter. This wasn't there in the previous book. Now it is. Okay, so let's just start with this as a warm-up. Okay, just a quick review before we move on to our topic for the day. All right, so let's listen to the track one more time, and I'd like to try something new. I'm not sure, but not new because I have a problem with the sound settings. So I'm trying to get integrated external, same as system. Okay. Can you still hear me? Is my sound still? I think okay. Should.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now tell me if you hear this track.
Okay.
Can you hear it?
No.
No.
Okay. I'll make a few. Okay, never mind. Let's. Okay, never mind. Let me open the track. So let's take it to the bottom and let's remove all this from the screen. Okay, so now you can see, you can easily see the book, right? And now I'm just going to jump to the track. It's track 7. Are you ready to listen?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So now just check for the extra points we didn't have in last time in our previous book. You can see them now. So I'm just going to increase the volume this way. You can hear it for sure. Okay. All right. All right. Now I think we're, maybe if I change. Okay. All right. You can still see the writing. It's not covered by the other app, right? Or is it covered?
It's covered.
It's covered.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see now.
Track 18.
How did you meet your wife, Ray?
Oops, not this
We
one.
first met when she was renting a room in my sister's flat in Brighton.
Face to Face, second edition. Track 13.
What?
Exercise. Police.
Oops. Okay. My bad. Because they're not in the right order. Strange. Ah. Okay, now it's now you can see, right? It's not in front of the screen anymore.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to change the screen. Okay, while we're working on this, who started with the workbook? Malak, I know I sent it a little late to you guys, but what do you think of the workbook? Have you managed to do any work on it, Malak and Shams?
Yeah, I
Yes.
started the first page. It was pretty easy.
Yeah, the beginning is all easy. Unit 1, I think the whole thing is really easy. It's just a revision for elementary, I think, the first unit in the workbook. It was easy, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you finish anything else or just the first unit?
Mm,
No,
about,
just the first page today.
about me, I just look one page about previous lesson.
Which one?
Previous lesson about time off.
Time off. Which lesson was it?
Last lesson.
You mean the one about free time?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Did you do any, what about the
Track
previous?
7.
Oops.
A new survey on the
Sorry, what about the previous ones, the ones before?
Yes.
Did you do any of the previous workbook?
One page, just one page, and I have some points I didn't understand it. But when we solve them, I will put I will send it.
Yes, please. Yes, with any exercises you're not sure how to answer, give them a try first. If you still don't understand them, screenshot them. Take a screenshot with your laptop or your phone and send it to me on the inbox, through the inbox, and I'll check it. If it's just a problem with the instructions, I can easily explain it. So don't worry about that.
Okay.
Shams, you had something to say, I think.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Did you have a question to ask? You were about to say something, I think.
No.
All right, all right. So now let's listen to this track and let's just notice the extra info. So, okay, I think this way the whole text is in front of us. We can see the whole thing in one go. Okay, so let's start.
Time and shopping habits of British people is published this week. And it shows that we still love football, going to pubs, watching TV, and eating fish and chips. Here are some of the results from the survey. The British are always happy when they're socialising. 55% of men and 44% of women go to a bar or pub with their friends every week. About 30% of adults go to a festival or a concert at least once a year, and 20% go to the theatre. About 25% go to a museum or an art gallery. British people generally watch TV for about 4 hours every day, and about 45% of men have dinner and watch TV at the same time. The average British person spends more than 22 hours online every month, and a quarter of that time is on social networking sites like Facebook and Twitter. More than half of all adults in the UK do some sport every month. About 15% of British people go swimming, and 7% play football, but 32% watch football on TV once or twice a week. British people normally go on holiday once a year, but 20% of people have 2 or more holidays a year. The most popular holiday destination is Spain. 30% of adults go to a McDonald's restaurant every 3 months, but 46% go to a traditional fish and chip shop. The British spend about £48 million on tea and £56 million on coffee every month. And every British person eats 10 kilograms of chocolate every year, more than any other country in the world.
Okay, so I think the only extra point we have is probably the one about the internet, right? The one about the British internet habits, I think. Okay, so now let's get back to our topic. So just a random, unrelated question. This survey is from 2012. Do you think there would be any changes now in 2020? And which points do you think would change since then, in your opinion, Malak?
I don't understand you.
Okay, so the question was, did you see all the statistics, the survey, the numbers that we just saw about the British people and how they
Yes.
spend their free time? So my question is, this survey, of course, is a little old. It's a little dated. This is from 2012. Okay. Now we're in 2020. So imagine if we had this survey today. Do you think?
Yeah, of course.
Do you think we'd have the same results, or would we have different results? And which ones do you think would be the same?
Different results. I think different results now.
All right. Which of them do you think would change the most, or in your opinion?
Do you mean habits about British people?
Yes, their habits, their free time habits. Which of them do you think would change?
I think all of them changing.
Do you think more, less?
More, maybe more, yes.
Which ones do you think more? For example, do you think they would spend more time doing sport and gardening?
About adults, maybe more, because adults go to festival or concerts.
Concerts, yeah.
Yes. Maybe more than now.
All right.
And yes, and about online, spend more time online every month. Maybe more than hours now.
More hours now than, for example, in 2012, in your opinion? What about?
I don't remember.
Okay, do you want me to take you back?
Okay.
Here are some of the points. There's, for example, going to the pub, going to festivals and concerts, the TV watching habits, and then we have internet spending time, how much time you spend on the internet. Then we have sport, then we have holidays, then we have McDonald's or fish and chips, then we have tea and coffee, and the last one is chocolate. So you
okay, about watching TV, watch TV.
More or less?
Yeah, more hours every day, and about me and have dinner and watch TV, maybe more.
You think this is more too?
More. Yes, yes, I think.
And what about Shems? Do you agree with her, or do you think maybe there are different things here that would change?
I agree with Malak because the new generation is more interested in internet and things are online. They doesn't care of gardening and watching TV for 4 hours. I think the matter is only the online things.
So you think more online, less TV?
Yeah.
I probably agree with that. I think so too, maybe. All right, so we also did a little bit of grammar, if you remember last time. So very, very quickly, I'll just remind you of the frequency adverbs we used. We used the always, never, hardly ever, occasionally, sometimes, often, and we agreed that always is the highest, and then you have generally, normally, usually, and then you have often, then you have occasionally, then you have sometimes, then you have hardly ever. Some people say rarely, which is also correct. And then you have never, so this was last time. And we also finished the frequency expressions, like once a year, every Saturday, once every 3 months. So now, in this exercise, it says, I think we can skip this. They want us to look back, choose the correct phrase in the rule. We used the before, I think we did the before after part. We agreed where they go, but number 5, we didn't do number 5. Now here we want to put the words in each sentence in the correct order, okay? So this is sort of practice for us to use the frequency adverbs in the right way. And remember, all of this is present simple. We're still doing present simple because frequency adverbs and frequency expressions, they work with the present simple because they talk about habits. And the only thing is they tell us how often we do that, the habit. So if you just say, I wake up at 9 o'clock, this is a normal, straightforward, present simple sentence. I wake up at 9 o'clock. If you don't give me any adverbs of frequency, I understand you do this all the time. But if you say, I hardly ever wake up at 9 o'clock, it's a completely different story. I understand that this is a rare thing for you. You don't normally wake up at 9. Not 9. You don't normally wake up at 9 o'clock, sorry, in the morning. Do you get the idea? So now let's work on some of these and I think the picture will get clearer. Let's start with, okay, let's divide them. We have 9 points, we have 8 because 1 is answered. So 4 of them can be done by Malak and the other 4, Shams can do them, okay? So,
Okay.
all right, would you like to start? Who would like to go first?
Okay,
Yeah,
I
I will
will
go.
start.
Let's give the yoga one to Shams. She likes yoga.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. You can start, Shams.
Once or twice a week.
Okay, but you have to do the full sentence with all the words in front of you. Can you see all the words? You need to use all the words. Let me read number 1 as an example. So it says here the question. It says make sentences with these words. Okay. So if you see number 1, we have all the words, but they're not in order. They're sort of all over the place, right? So we need to put them in order. So we take the first one we do, we take I, and then we use go, and then we use running, which is not correct. Oh, so we have to go back. I sometimes go running on Sundays. So now we have the right sentence. I sometimes go running on Sundays. Do you get the idea, Shams? So we need to do the same for the next 4. So the next 4 are yours. You need to do the same to put them in the right order.
Okay. So we is the first. We normally. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, go ahead. I'd like you to say the whole sentence together. So I'm just giving you time to put it together.
Okay. We normally do yoga once or twice a week.
Nice. That's right. We normally do yoga once or twice a week. Very nice. Okay, the next one.
I go to the dentist once a month.
Okay, that's good, but you didn't use every.
Okay. I go to the dentist every. I go to the dentist once every 6 months.
That's it. That's correct. I go to the dentist once every 6 months. Correct.
Okay. Alexander generally at home. Alexander is generally at home on Sundays.
That's right. Alexander is generally at home on Sundays. Very nice. Okay, the last one.
Okay. Carly goes diving every couple of weeks.
Nice, that's it. Carly goes diving every couple of weeks. Okay, so you can see we were just talking about the habits of these people using these expressions, the sometimes, the often, every, these words, these expressions.
Frequent verb.
All right, your turn, Malak. You can do the remaining examples.
Okay. My parents are always on holiday in January.
Nice. My parents are always on holiday in January. Right. Okay, the next one.
I go to an art gallery 2 or 3 times a year.
I go to an art gallery two or three times a year.
We play volleyball occasionally at the weekend.
Can you make it a little better?
Okay. We play volleyball occasionally at the weekend.
Okay. Can you see example number 1?
Yes. Sorry. We occasionally. Yes. We occasionally play volleyball at the weekend.
That's right. We occasionally play volleyball at the weekend. That's it. All right. And the last one.
I see my grandparents once or twice a year.
Okay. So I see my grandparents once or twice a year. What does it mean, twice a year?
Two times in a year.
Exactly, that's right. All right, so now in the second part of the question here in part B, it says write 5 sentences about you or about your free time activities and use adverb frequencies from 4A and 4C. Okay, so we want to use these adverbs of frequency from 4C and 4A. So I'm just going to take you back. So here you can see these. I'm going to give you a minute so you can think a little bit. But I want you to use these as much as possible to talk about your free time activities, things you normally do in your free time. And you can say how often you do these things, once a week, twice a month, whatever. And you can also use these expressions. I sometimes, I often, depending on how often you do them, okay? So just take a minute, think of some of the activities you do, and then you can tell me about them, okay? I'll do a few as an example. So let me think of mine. So I often go, let me say it first and then write. I often go on holiday once every 2 years. So, although I don't think we need to use often here. I go on holiday once every 2 years. This is an example. Another one would be, I hardly ever wake up before 8 o'clock, okay? Especially on Fridays. I hardly ever wake up before 8 o'clock on Fridays. All right? So you need sentences like these. Things which are normal and describe your daily routine, especially if they're related to your free time, which is the focus of today's lesson. Okay, so let's hear some examples from Shams. Okay, give us some examples about things you do in your free time.
Okay. I usually visit my grandparents once a week.
Good.
I always get up at 7 a.m. to do my yoga.
Good.
I often go to the beach every weekend.
Okay, all right. Okay, another one? These are great, by the way. Very good.
I hardly ever clean my room.
All right, so we have that in common. Okay, good. All right, all right. So these are very nice examples. They're good. No mistakes, no problems there. Okay, very nice. Okay, so Malak, let's hear your examples using adverbs of frequency, and feel free to talk about any of the points.
Okay. I always go to school.
Okay, you always go to school?
Yes.
But can you give us more details? For example, I always go to school. Can you name the days?
Okay, okay. I always go to school at 10 o'clock.
All right.
And I sometimes go to the park with my kids. I never go to the theater.
All right. I never go to the theater. Good.
I usually go to my cousin with my family.
Okay, you can add an expression, frequency expression to help.
Okay.
You can say, I usually go to my cousin.
Okay. Once a week.
That's great. All right, one last example. Can you think of another example?
Okay. I hardly ever go where?
Let's think of something other than go. What about do?
I hardly ever maybe hardly ever. I hardly ever go to the shopping in my town.
Okay. Okay, that's correct. But remember what we talked about, shopping and the shopping center, for example, or shopping mall. If you want to use a place, what do we say if you want to use a place? And what do we say if we want to use just the activity? I'll remind you, I'll take you back. Remember this?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so can you repeat
Go
that
to,
example?
yes. I hardly ever go to the shop. Go to the shop. Go to the center shop.
Shopping center, you can say.
Shopping center, yes. Go to the shopping center in my town.
All right, all right. But that's good. That's good. I hardly ever go to the shopping center in my town. That's fine. But can you do examples? Because all of your examples, or most of them, had go. Let's think of another verb instead of go.
Okay.
You can watch, you can play, you can do, you can think of other verbs.
Okay. I never play a volleyball. Maybe no, I never play piano.
All right.
In our house, maybe.
That's okay. I never play the piano in our house. I never play the piano in our house. Yeah, but correct. That's correct. I never play the piano in our house. Now I have a side question. So if someone says, I never play the piano in our house, what do you understand from this statement? Is the person a piano player or not a piano player? Does this person play in other places or doesn't play in other places? I'll write the sentence just to remind you because it's an interesting sentence. So this one, in my house. And
Yes.
what's the difference between these sentences?
I maybe like what you say. I never played the piano in my house. Maybe it mean I play the piano, but not in my house.
Past
Alright.
simple.
Okay.
And the second, it's past simple about I never play piano in my house or in other place.
Okay.
I never play the piano. It's the same, the second one, but it's the present. Yes, it's the present.
What do you think, Shams? Is there a difference in meaning here?
It's me like they never play the piano in the house, not in the other place. But the second one, in the past simple, it means never. They never touch the piano, even in the house or another place.
Okay. And what about the last one? Okay, the last one. Can this person play the piano?
No.
Do you agree, Shams? Can the person play the piano in the last sentence when they say I never played the piano? We can't hear you, I think. Or you're just thinking.
I'm thinking.
You think a lot.
I don't know.
All right, it's a bit of a trick question, to be honest. It's a bit of a trick question because the problem is the last sentence when someone says I never eat chicken or I never play the piano or I never go to the beach. They're talking about this, they're describing their routine or their habits but it doesn't exclude for example, someone says I never go swimming. We don't know if the person can swim or not. It doesn't cover ability. So maybe the person who says, I never play the piano, maybe the person has a piano, maybe the person knows how to play it, but he just doesn't like it. Maybe he was forced when he was young to take lessons, but he never really likes the piano. So I never play the piano. I always play the guitar. If someone says something like this, I never play the piano, I always play the guitar, you sort of understand that this person can play both, by the way, but he just doesn't want to, just doesn't like to play the piano. It's a bit like this, I think.
Okay, so he can, but he doesn't want.
Probably, yeah. He doesn't want to, or he doesn't do it anyways. But we don't. The thing the thing we know for sure is we cannot say that he doesn't know how to play. Or so we can't say he's unable to play. We don't. The example doesn't tell us enough. This is the idea. It's a bit of a trick question, like I said. All right, so now let's do the listening part here. We have a nice listening task here, a little task. So let's talk about this. So here we have a researcher. So now we have an interview between a researcher and Robert. So here we have our researcher and here we have Robert. All right. So she's going to ask him some of his free time activity, probably routines and habits. And she wants to know how often does he do these activities. So you can see we have 5 activities, 6. So going to the bar, going to the theater, going to museums, watching TV, doing sports, and going on holiday. So these are the activities she wants to ask him about. So we're going to do the listening part, and we'll just see how often he does these, okay? And then we are going to compare Robert's answers, and we will see how typical Robert is. So what does this second part of the question mean, in your opinion, when we say, in what ways is he a typical British person? What do we mean when we say typical British person? What do you think, Malak? Or if I ask you, what is typical for a typical Libyan characteristic or a typical Libyan meal? So what do you think I mean when I say this?
It's close from traditional.
Okay, your answer is close, yes. In some ways, yes. Okay, what about Malak? What do you think when we say a typical British person, a typical Libyan person, a typical British meal, a typical Libyan meal?
Some habitus, about habitus.
Okay. All right. I think maybe Shams's answer is a little more specific than yours. Your answer is not wrong, by the way, Malak, but not very specific, I think. Okay. Remember the article we did about the British people, the survey. Now the information we had there, it was sort of the information on average. Do you know what it means on average when we say something on average? Remember when we said so
In the middle.
we're taking the whole we're taking the whole population into consideration when we talked about their habits. But this doesn't mean that every British person goes to the pub once a week, or every British person watches television for hours. Do you get the point here? This is just a little statistics. I'm just talking statistics, not English here. So my point here is, the point I'm trying to make is, if we go here, when we say, for example, the British spend 48 million pounds on tea, for example. This is the average of the population. But some British people don't drink tea. This doesn't mean that every British person drinks tea or every British person drinks coffee. There are some British people that don't drink coffee nor tea. Do you get the idea? So here, this is just, here in the survey, we have the typical number or the average. So they take everyone into the study, or at least a large sample of people, maybe 1,000 people. And then they say, for these 1,000 people, we found da, 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 da. But of course, there are exceptions. So the average doesn't mean everybody. So when we say typical, this is the average. We're just talking about the average. You get the idea? So now the researcher, her job is, she wants to compare this individual, Robert, she wants to compare him to the average British person, to the average British numbers we had from the previous survey, okay? This is the idea, basically. All right, so I'm going to play the track for you now. So here we have the track. Let's get ready. Let me change the sharing screen so this way you can see what I'm doing. So we need track 8 this time. Let's go to track 8.
8.
Excuse me, we're doing...
Sorry, okay, let me just increase the volume. All right, are you ready? Let me take you back to the book. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, so in some of these exercises, it's always better to have a notebook next to you. I think it's just a recommendation because it might help you write, or even a piece of paper. It could help you scribble down the answer. Okay, so let's start. Let's hear. Yes, Shams? Did you ask?
No,
a
nothing.
Sorry?
Oh, there's nothing. Sorry.
All right, you'll just have to try to remember then, okay? All right, so let's start.
Track 8.
Excuse me, we're doing a survey on the free time habits of British people. Can I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
Thanks very much. Right, first question. How often do you go to a bar or a pub?
Oh, probably about once a week. I sometimes meet friends in the pub after work.
And do you ever go to the theatre?
Yes, I do. Quite a lot, actually.
Okay. How often do you go?
About once a month. A lot of my friends are actors, and I always go to see them when they're in something new.
And how often do you go to museums and art galleries?
Sorry, I never go to museums or art galleries. I don't really have time.
Okay, no problem. Right, the next question. How much TV do you watch a day on average?
Let me think. Well, I watch a lot of football, so probably I'd say about 3 hours a day.
That's about 21 hours a week.
Yes, that sounds about right.
Okay. And do you do any sport?
Yes, I go running.
And how often do you do that?
About 3 or 4 times a week.
Right. And what about holidays? How often do you go on holiday?
I normally have 2 holidays a year, one in the summer and one in January.
And where do you usually go?
In the summer, I usually stay in the UK, and in the winter, I usually go somewhere hot, like Africa or India.
Okay. And how often do you...
Okay. So how typical? Before we answer the second part of the question, let's see. How often does he go to a bar or a pub? What did he say? What did Robert say?
Once a week.
Once a week.
Yeah, that's right. He said once a week. Yeah. What about the theater? What did he say about the theater?
Once a month.
Yeah, once a month. Okay. And museums or art galleries?
Never.
He said he never go.
Yeah, he said he never goes. Correct. How many hours per day? How often does he watch television?
3 hours a day.
3 hours a day.
That's correct. What about sport? Does he do any sport?
Yes, he's running.
Okay. So he goes running, right?
Yes.
How often does he go running?
3 or 5
3 or
times a
4
week.
times. 3, 4 times.
A week, right?
Yes, a week.
Yeah.
And what about holiday? What did he say about holiday?
He said he goes summer
one
to
in
the UK and winter
one in
to
winter.
Africa, India.
All right, so he has 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
One of them, what
In
did
the
he
summer
say? Yeah, in the summer. And the other one?
and in winter.
Is
And where does he go in the summer?
UK.
Okay, so he stays, he doesn't go.
In
Because
winter.
he's British, right?
Yes.
So he stays in his country. So he stays in the UK in the summer, and in the winter he goes where?
to Africa or India.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so you got all the answers right. Now this is the interesting question for me. In what ways is he a typical British person? So how should we answer this question?
He's so close to be a typical British.
Mm-hmm. So how do you? I mean, how do we say is he close or is he different from a typical British person? How do we find? How do we decides? This is my question.
Because he watched the TV 3 hours a day, and they watch the TV 4 hours.
Exactly. So
That's
we're comparing him. We're comparing him to the average, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the right way to go. Good. Okay. So he's close. When we talk about television, he watches 3, and the typical British person watches 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What else is he similar to the typical British man?
And go to a bar or a pub once a week.
So this is almost the same as the typical British person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. What else is typical? What about his holiday habits?
About sport, he's doing sport.
Okay. And
Holiday.
okay, let's see the holiday with Shams, and then we'll see the rest with Malak. Okay. What about holidays, Shams? Is he typical in his holiday habits?
No, because the typical British go to Spain, but he goes to Africa or India.
Yes. So this is atypical.
So it's
The opposite
different.
of, yeah, it's different. So we have typical, atypical. This is a little different. So not most, on average, British people go to Spain more than they go to Africa. Okay, I have another statistical question. Is Robert the only British person who goes to India or Africa?
No, of course not.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, very good. Now, Malak, what about you? What about his theater going habits and the museum and sports?
I think that's he is typical because about sports, I think, and holidays.
Okay.
And
Okay, sorry to interrupt. I need to go just for a few minutes, for a minute, and I'll be back. Okay.
okay.
You can stay online just a minute, and I'll come back.
Okay.
All right. So I won't take long. Okay. Sorry for the interruption.
Okay.
All right. So
No problem.
yes. Yeah. Back to you, Malak. You were saying the ways in which Robert is typical.
Yes. I think go to the bar. He goes to a bar once a week. It's good for them. It's typical for them. For
Okay.
him.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the theater. It is not typical.
Okay. So going to the theater wasn't typical. Yeah. So it's different.
Yes, because once a month it's a little, and go to museums, art galleries. It's not typical.
Because he never goes, right?
Yes, he never goes. He watches TV 3 hours a day. It is not typical.
But it's not too far away, right? Because the typical is
Yes.
is 4, so
3 hours
is a little less.
a day. It's very much.
But the average or the typical is 4 hours a day.
Yes, 4 hours a day.
And he is 3 hours a day.
Yes. But I think it's more. It's. I think it's more than average. More about a day. It's very. It's money. It's a lot.
You think it's a lot? Yes, maybe you're right. But even if it's a lot, it's still less than the average.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What about sport?
Sport, I think it's good and typical. Yes.
Is it typical that he goes running?
3. Yes. 3 or 4 times. Yes.
Is this typical for British people?
Yes. No, for British people, I think every day maybe, but maybe because he is working or have some things.
Yes, but if we compare his sport habit, if we compare him to the average, if you remember, here it said about sports, it says more than half of all adults in the UK do some sport every month, but it said 15% of British people go swimming, 7% play football, but 32% watch football on television, right? So only 7% play football. It didn't mention anything about running. And I think it said more than half of all adults, they do some sport every month. So once a month, more than half do once a month. But Robert, he goes running 3 to 4 times a week. That's a lot more, right, than the average, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe he's a lot more athletic than the typical British person, I think. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And about holiday, I think typical. Not typical for British people.
Yeah, to go to
because they go to Spain.
Yeah, most people go to Spain. Yes. Probably less people go to Africa and India than Spain. All right. Now the second part here, it's just sentence stress. I think we talked about sentence stress.
Yes.
We talked about word stress, or did we talk about sentence stress? Did we also talk about sentence stress? Yeah, anyways, we talked about word stress, when we say, for example, Brazil, we don't say Brazil, we say China, we don't say China, right? We say Libya, we don't say, in Arabic we say Libya, but in English we say Libya. Anyways, this is word stress, but now we have sentence stress. So here, in sentence stress, they want you to pay attention to how questions are formed, and how to focus on certain words more than the others. So you can see in the question, almost all of the words are stressed, yeah, except a is not stressed, on is not stressed, the is not stressed, of is not stressed, right? And you can see even here in the second question, can is not stressed, I is not stressed, you, the same thing here with do you, and to or so this, when I say these are not stressed, this means when you're going to listen to them again now, you will notice that they say them very quickly. They just pass by them. They don't say them, can I ask you? No, it won't be like this. They won't say, how often do you go? You will not hear do you go, right? So it'll be a bit different. I want you to pay attention to how they say the unstressed words in the sentence, and also to pay attention to the intonation. Do you know this word, intonation?
No.
Intonation.
No.
All right.
Yes.
So what does intonation mean, Malak? How can you explain intonation?
Maybe intonation, something like music.
Correct.
Yes.
It's like the music to the question, right? So when usually there's a question, the intonation goes up, right? So if I say, can you give me a pencil, please? Yeah. So so it goes up at the end, right? So this is intonation. Intonation is important if you want to make a question. And actually, this is even more important in other languages that don't have auxiliary verbs. Because, for example, Spanish and Portuguese, they don't have do and does, and they don't have these auxiliary verbs. So the word why is the same as because. So if you say por qué, this is, you're saying because. But if you say por qué, so now it's a question, but it's the same word. Do you get the idea? So it's more important in other languages, but even in English, it's also important, I think. All right, so let me play the track again, and let's pay attention to these words which are unstressed, and let's see how the native speaker says these words in the track, okay? So let's hear these. So let's listen to them. Okay, so now I'm just going to increase the volume. All right, so we're ready. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's play this.
Track 8.
Excuse me, we're doing a survey on the free time habits of British people. Can I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
Thanks very much. Right, first question. How often do you go to a bar or a pub?
Oh, probably about once a week. I sometimes meet friends in the pub after work.
Okay, so what do you notice here? How do you remember how she said how she went over the unstressed words?
A pub or bar.
Yeah, a pub or bar. These are clear, but what about, how did she say this one to you? How did she say it? Did she say, how often do you go to a bar or a pub? Or did she?
No.
What did she say?
How often do you go to the bar or a pub?
Okay. What about Malak? Sorry, Shams, can you try to do it? The one about how often?
Okay. How often do you go to a bar or a pub?
Yeah, she said, how often do you go? How often do you? So it's almost like j. It's almost one word together when she says, how often do you go? Do you go? Do you go? She doesn't even say do you. It's linked. the way she does it. And if you pay attention to it, you'll notice it again here.
Track 8.
Excuse me, we're doing a survey on the free time habits of British people. Can I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
Thanks very much. Right, first question. How often do you go to a bar or a pub?
Oh,
Right? It's very light. She doesn't stress it. And also, what about this one? Does she say, can I, or does she say, can I ask you? How does she say it?
She said, can I ask you?
Yeah, exactly. Can. It's not can, it becomes kun, because it's not stressed. But in the answer, if you notice, he says, he doesn't answer. But let's imagine someone asks you this question and you say, yes, I. What's the difference in the pronunciation between the can in the question and the can in the answer? Let's write it. For example, okay, can you read both the answer and the question, Shams?
Can I ask you a few questions? Yes, you can.
That's it. That's the right intonation. That's the right stress, I mean. The first one is kun. The second one is can. Because here it's stressed, because it's an answer. But here it's unstressed, because it's in the question. All right? So this is basically what they want you to do. It's not too complicated, but they just want you to know that in the English language, sometimes some words aren't stressed. And these are the words which you feel are maybe too light, or they say them too quickly. These are unstressed words. Okay, so this is a writing exercise. Write at least 6 questions. No, we can skip this one, I think, and move to the next part. All right, so let's move to the next part here. So here we have small talk. What do you think this means when we say small talk? What does it mean, small talk? Can talk be small and big?
No.
Maybe a little.
Yeah, little?
It's like a little chat.
Okay, that's close, yes.
Very short conversation.
Very short conversations, maybe, correct? That's correct, yes. Small talk in general is informal chatting. It means you're just chatting. You're not talking about something important. You're not discussing something. You're not arguing about something. You're just this normal everyday chit chat. This is small talk. How are you? Oh, the weather is nice. Well, did you see the last match? It was really nice. Yeah. What about yeah, the financial crisis? The dollar is $5, and you know, this kind of chat, right? The chat that people have during in a bus stop, or maybe in a train or something like this. All right. So now this one is a video actually. Okay, we can do the audio, no problem. So it says here, we're going to talk a little bit about real conversations, like starting conversations and ending conversations. So usually the D part of a lesson, of a unit, usually it revolves around daily language. This is the idea, sort of more real-time kind of English that you use on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so let's start with the first conversation here. We're going to listen to a little story. It says here, Matt and Carol are having a party. Okay, so let's find Matt and Carol. So here we have Matt. We can see Matt. Let's find Carol. Where's Carol? So Carol, here she is. This is Carol. All right. So both of them are having a party. So we want to look at the photos and then watch or listen and choose the correct words. All right, so the first part, we are going to listen to these, to the conversation, and then we'll check, or then we'll choose the right word, okay? So this is a listening exercise. It's also a video if we have the video. I don't have it ready, but it's basically the same thing. I think we can do it with the listening. All right, so first thing is choosing the correct word. So let me play the track for you. This is track 9. All right. Are you ready?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So let's quickly read the sentences first, so we're ready to choose. So it says Matt is Carol's brother or husband. Natalia is from Spain or Brazil. Ben works with Matt or Carol. Jackie is Matt and Carol's neighbor or boss. Liam is a lawyer or an accountant. Amy is Carol's sister or cousin. So let's find out.
Track 9. 1.
Hello, welcome to the party.
Hi, I'm Natalia.
Hi, I'm Matt, Carol's husband.
Nice to meet you.
You work with Carol, don't you?
Yes, that's right. I'm the new receptionist there.
Do you know David? He's Carol's boss.
Yes, he's my boss too. Is he here? Do you know?
No, he couldn't come, unfortunately. He's away playing golf somewhere.
Oh, that's a shame.
Where are you from, Natalia?
I'm from Spain,
Oh, right. Whereabouts in Spain?
Valencia. But I came over to England about 8 years ago.
Do you go back there very often?
About 3 times a year.
Carol and I often talk about going to Valencia sometime.
Well, if you do, let me know. My brother can show you around.
Great. Thanks a lot.
2.
Hello, I'm Ben.
Hi, I'm Jackie. Nice to meet you.
You too. Are you enjoying the party?
Yes, it's great.
How do you know Matt and Carol?
I live next door.
All right, so not far to come then.
No, and if the party gets boring, I can just go home.
Yeah, that's true.
And what about you? Do you live near here?
Yeah, I do. I live about a mile away.
Whereabouts?
In Richmond, near the park.
Oh, nice. Are you a friend of Matt's?
Yeah, Matt and I work at the same recording studio.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
It can be. And what about you? What do you do?
I'm a restaurant manager.
Oh, right. What type of restaurant is it?
It's an Italian restaurant called La Trattoria on Brook Street.
Oh, I know the one. I've had dinner there once or twice. The food is very good.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Thanks.
3.
Hi, Liam. So pleased you could come.
Very happy to be here, Carol. Great party.
Thanks very much. Liam, this is my sister Amy.
Hello, Amy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Didn't we meet at Carol and Matt's wedding?
Yes, that's right, you did. You sat at the same table, I think. Oh, yes, I remember. You're a lawyer, aren't you?
Yes, that's right.
How do you two know each other?
Carol and I work together.
Oh, right. Well, I do most of the work. Liam just sits at his desk chatting to people on Facebook all day.
Hey, that's not true. Well, not all the time anyway.
Okay. How much information did you get from this track? We're going to repeat it to answer the second part, but I'm just curious to see if you got enough to answer this part.
I didn't hear number 3 and 4.
Okay, okay. But okay, let's see the ones you got. What about Natalia? Where is she from?
Spain.
Okay, do you agree?
Spain.
Okay, you agree. And what about Ben? Who does Ben work with?
I don't hear.
Shams?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Number 3? Did
Uh,
you get number 3?
No, I didn't get 3 or 4 because there was a disconnection.
I see, okay. Okay, I'll repeat this, don't worry. What about number 5? What about Liam?
Yeah, he is a lawyer.
Okay, and Amy?
Is Carol's sister.
She's Carol's sister.
Yes.
Do you agree, Malak?
Yes, I think I hear that.
All right, all right. Now, we're going to repeat the track again, but we also want to answer the second group of questions here. So it says here, tick the true sentences and correct the false sentences. So here from number 1 to 6 in part B, we have a mix of true and false sentences. If it's true, of course, we'll tick it, but if it's false, we need to correct it. So number 2 here, it says, she goes back to Spain about 4 times a year. Do you remember this?
I think three times a year.
3, okay. What about Ben? Does he live near a park? Can you remember? Don't worry if you can't, just checking. Okay, Jackie. What about Jackie? Is she a manager of a French restaurant?
Oh no, Italian.
Italian? All right. We'll get a chance to confirm this. We'll check it. And Liam and Amy meet at Carol and Matt's wedding. Sorry, met. Liam and Amy, where did they meet? It says they met at Carol and Matt's wedding. Is this true? Did they meet at?
I think it's true.
I think it's true. And the last
Yes.
one,
No, I think it's wrong because Carol maybe work with maths.
So this might be false. Okay. And what about the last point? Carol and Amy work for the same companies.
I don't remember. I can't hear very well. I don't know why.
It just needs a little practice. Do you watch any movies, Malak?
No.
Okay, you have to start watching stuff in English. You need to.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to watch a lot. Even if it's boring and even if it's not very interesting for you, you have to do it. And you also need to download subtitles in English. Do you know the subtitles, the words?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
You need to download it with the series or the movie or whatever you're watching, but they should be in English.
Okay.
Yeah. So this way, if you miss a word, you can see it in front of you. And when you see the word and you hear it at the same time, it stays there because you know how it sounds and you know how it looks like, spelling. So this is something, this is extra work. I think at this level, you have to start doing this if you want to help your English learning sort of speed up. Okay, let's repeat this track one more time, and let's sort of pay attention to all the details this time. I can repeat it even a third time, so no worries. If you didn't get something, we can repeat it again. No worries there. Okay, so let's move this on the side. Are you ready? Shall we start?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's
Track 9. 1.
Hello, welcome to the party.
Hi, I'm Natalia.
Hi, I'm Matt, Carol's husband.
Nice to meet you.
You work with Carol, don't you?
Yes, that's right. I'm the new receptionist there.
Do you know David? He's Carol's boss.
Yes, he's my boss too. Is he here? Do you know?
No, he couldn't come, unfortunately. He's away playing golf somewhere.
Oh, that's a shame.
Where are you from, Natalia?
I'm from Spain,
Oh, right. Whereabouts in Spain?
Valencia. But I came over to England about 8 years ago.
Do you go back there very often?
About 3 times a year.
Carol and I often talk about going to Valencia sometime.
Well, if you do, let me know. My brother can show you around.
Great. Thanks a lot.
2.
Hello, I'm Ben.
Hi, I'm Jackie. Nice to meet you.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. The numbers are, of course, they're not in order, yeah? Because they say
Yes.
1, but 1 is 2 because the 1 is already answered as an example. Okay? So maybe this is one of the reasons of the causes of the confusion. So when she says 1, it means 2, and this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, and so on. Okay. So let me
Okay.
take you back to the second point. So we already know Natalia is from Spain. Now let's see the next point.
Hello, I'm Ben.
Hi.
Hello, I'm Ben.
Hi, I'm Jackie. Nice to meet you.
You too. Are you enjoying the party?
Yes, it's great.
How do you know Matt and Carol?
I live next door.
All right, so not far to come then.
No, and if the party gets boring, I can just go home.
Yeah, that's true.
And what about you? Do you live near here?
Yeah, I do. I live about a mile away.
Whereabouts?
In Richmond, near the park.
Oh, nice. Are you a friend of Matt's?
Yeah, Matt and I work at the same recording studio.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
It can be. And what about you? What do you do?
I'm a restaurant manager.
Oh, right. What type of restaurant is it?
It's an Italian restaurant called La Trattoria on Brook Street.
Oh, I know the one. I've had dinner there once or twice. The food is very good.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Thanks.
3.
Hi, Liam. So pleased you could come.
Very happy to be here, Carol. Great party.
Thanks very much. Liam.
Okay, sorry to interrupt again. Actually, the previous point is like both of them together, if you've noticed, right? So the previous point, the one about Ben and Jackie, so the three of them were together because now they jump to this point, the one about Liam.
Mhm.
Is that clear, Malak?
No.
All right, because the numbers are not in order. I don't know why, but they're not. So in reality, this is, maybe this will help explain. So this is 1. These are 2. And now it says 3, but they're here. Do you get the idea?
Yes.
Now I'm going to
Yes.
take you a little back, and you can see that 3, they'll start talking about Liam. So
3.
Hi, Liam. So pleased you could come.
Very happy to be here, Carol. Great party.
Thanks very much. Liam, this is my sister Amy.
Hello, Amy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Didn't we meet at Carol and Matt's wedding?
Yes, that's right, you did. You sat at the same table, I think. Oh, yes, I remember. You're a lawyer, aren't you?
Yes, that's right.
How do you two know each other?
Carol and I work together.
Oh, right. Well, I do most of the work. Liam just sits at his desk chatting to people on Facebook all day.
Hey, that's not true. Well, not all the time anyway.
all right. So the same thing here again happened. These 2 are actually together with number 3. Is it clear?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so let's see how many
it's clear.
Yeah, okay. Don't worry, if we missed something, we can always go back. But for now, let's try. So it says here, we decided that Natalia is from Spain. What about Ben?
Yes.
Who does Ben work with?
Carol.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes. I think Carol.
Okay.
I hear Carol.
Shams, we're depending on you. You have to save us here. What do you think, Shams?
I agree.
Okay. And we're going to check them. Okay. Now, Jackie is Matt and Carol's neighbor or boss.
Neighbor.
Do you agree? with
Neighbor,
that?
yes. Yes.
Okay. Liam is a?
Lawyer.
Yeah.
Liar.
And Amy is Carol's?
Sister.
All right. Now, let's see these before we confirm again. Now, Natalia, she goes back to Spain about how many times a year?
3 times a year.
Okay. And what about Ben? Does he live near a park?
Yes, true.
Okay. What about Jackie? Is she a manager of a French restaurant?
No, Italian.
No.
Okay, so Italian. And what about Liam and Amy? Where did they meet?
At
It's right, maybe.
Is it right? Is it correct?
True.
Yes,
All right.
it's true.
So the next one is true. What about Carol and Amy? Do they work for the same company?
No.
Yes.
Carol and Liam, I think.
Carol and Liam. Let's see if this is true. What do you think of my handwriting?
Beautiful.
Okay, so let's listen again. Now I want you to pay attention, extra attention to these. I don't want to say right or wrong. I just want to say that pay attention to these. And which other one? This one. Okay, number 3. Pay attention to number 3. Let's listen again.
Track 9. 1.
Hello, welcome to the party.
Hi, I'm Natalia.
Hi, I'm Matt, Carol's husband.
Nice to meet you.
You work with Carol, don't you?
Yes, that's right. I'm the new receptionist there.
Do you know David? He's Carol's boss.
Yes, he's my boss too. Is he here? Do you know?
No, he couldn't come, unfortunately. He's away playing golf somewhere.
Oh, that's a shame.
Where are you from, Natalia?
I'm from Spain,
Oh, right. Whereabouts in Spain?
Valencia. But I came over to England about 8 years ago.
Do you go back there very often?
About 3 times a year.
Carol and I often talk about going to Valencia sometime.
Well, if you do, let me know. My brother can show you around.
Great. Thanks a lot.
2.
Okay, so let's check the ones we have. So this is correct. She goes back to Spain 3 times a year. This was correct. She's from Spain. This is correct. Until now, we're doing okay.
Hello, I'm Ben.
Hi, I'm Jackie. Nice to meet you.
You too. Are you enjoying the party?
Yes, it's great.
How do you know Matt and Carol?
I live next door.
Oh, right, so not far to come then.
No, and if the party gets boring, I can just go home.
Yeah, that's true.
And what about you? Do you live near here?
Yeah, I do. I live about a mile away.
Whereabouts?
In Richmond, near the park.
Oh, nice. Are you a friend of Matt's?
Yeah, Matt and I work at the same recording studio.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
What did he say? The last part, did you hear what he said?
He said he lives near a park.
After that?
What?
Let's go a little bit back. Try to listen what he says about Matt after he talks about living near the park.
Are you a friend of Matt's?
Yeah, Matt and I work at the same recording studio.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
It can be. And what about you? What do you do?
What does he do?
So Ben works with Matt, not Carol,
And where do they work?
in recording studio.
Yes, they work in the same recording studio, yeah? So it
Yeah.
means we had a mistake here. You had a mistake here. Okay? So they work in the same recording studio. All right, but this also means that number 3 here is correct. He lives near a park, so that's correct. Okay.
I'm a restaurant manager.
Oh, right. What type of restaurant is it?
It's an Italian restaurant called La Trattoria on Brook Street.
Oh, I know the one. I've had dinner there once or twice. The food is very good.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Thanks.
Okay. So this one is also correct. The one about Jackie. So here's Jackie. She's a manager of an Italian restaurant. Good. Okay. I think till now we're doing fine.
3.
Hi, Liam. So pleased you could come.
Very happy to be here, Carol. Great party.
Thanks very much. Liam, this is my sister Amy.
Hello, Amy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Didn't we meet at Carol and Matt's wedding?
Yes, that's right, you did. You sat at the same table, I think. Oh, yes, I remember. You're a lawyer, aren't you?
Yes, that's right.
How do you two know each other?
Carol and I work together.
Oh, right. Well, I do most of the work. Liam just sits at his desk chatting to people on Facebook all day.
Hey, that's not true. Well, not all the time anyway.
So this is also correct, like we answered it. Liam and Amy, they met at Matt's wedding. This is correct. And Carol and Liam work for the same company, right?
Yes.
And he's a lawyer, and Amy is Carol's sister. Okay, so this was a little practice in, I think, in listening for detail. So they want you to get used to listening to detail. This is probably, I think, the point of this exercise, listening to detail. Now, here it says we have some conversations. Let me change the... Does it make a difference the way the screen appears like this and like this? Does it appear the same way? Or is it different?
No, it's the same.
It's
the same.
All right. Okay, so it says here, starting conversations. Let's match. It says match these questions from the conversations to the reasons we ask them. Okay, so let me explain what we want to do here in exercise number 3. So here we have 10 different questions. Okay, and all of these questions are related to starting conversations. So you can use them to start a conversation. And you can divide these 10 questions. You can divide them into 4 different groups. Let me read the groups first, and then we can see which of these questions fit in which group. Okay, so the first group says people you know now. So if you know someone now, you can say, do you know David? So this would be a suitable question to use for people you know now. But to ask about people, where people are from or where they live, we also have a group of questions we can use. Then we have meeting people in the past. So if you want to talk about meeting people in the past, there's a group of questions to ask about this. And the last one, if you want to know more or if you want to chat about people's jobs, to ask them about their jobs, there is a group of questions here too. All right, so take a minute, and after that, just let me know which ones, and I'm going to write the number of the question you think fits in each group. All right, you get the idea of the question?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Shall we check?
Yes, I'll finish.
All right, okay. So let's divide them, okay? So Malak, you can choose 5. You don't have to choose an order, but just choose 5 and put them in the right place. And then Shams can do the same thing, and then we can check.
Okay. Number 2, where are you from? B, in group B.
Okay, so I'm going to just write here. So where are you from is here. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, next one.
Number 3, B, also B.
All right, so it's also.
Number 3, number 4, I'm sorry. How do you know Matt and Carol? Meeting people in the past, C.
Okay.
Number
Sure?
5, yes, I think that.
Okay.
Number 5, do you live near here? About B.
Okay.
Yes. Number 7, about D. Number 7, D.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about you, Shams?
Number 1, do you know David? Is A.
Okay, so this is answered, yes. Mm-hmm.
And then number 6, are you a friend of Matt's? Also A.
Mm-hmm.
And number 10, how do you two know each other? Also A.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And number 9 is D. You are a lawyer, or
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have all of them now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What about 8?
C.
And 10. 10. Oh, yes.
Yeah, 10, we answered it. Okay, so let's see if these are correct or not. Let's go to page 128. Let's see how many of these we got right. I think there is one which is not. Which one do you think is incorrect, Shams? There's one which is.
I think number 4.
Mm-hmm.
I think number 4 is A, not C.
Okay, so you think number 4 is A, not C. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's write your answer that you think it's 4. 4 should be here. Okay, so let's go to 128 and let's confirm. So this is 125, 6, 7, and here we have 8. Okay. So what can you see on the left side? So for people you know now, we can ask questions. Do you know Shams? Do you know Malak? How do you know Shams and Malak? Are you a friend of Malak? How do you two know each other? So this is if you want to ask about people who know each other now, you can ask these kind of questions to start a conversation, to start a chat. But if you want to ask about where they live, where are you from? Whereabouts in Libya means where in Libya? Which city? This is the meaning. Whereabouts in Libya? Do you live near here? This is clear, I think. If it's in the past, didn't we meet at Dr. Sue's English courses? people's jobs. What do you do? You're a student, aren't you? You're a doctor, aren't you? And so on. So all of them are correct except
how do you know? Math and color, yes.
yeah, so that's the only one, yes, because this is better for people you know now, because it's in the present, I think. Yeah?
Yeah.
But the rest they're all correct. Okay, so here there's a nice tip. It says, when we think the answer to a question will be yes, we often use negative questions. This is an interesting thing that English people do in their conversations. Because usually in grammar, when we start a yes-no question, we say, did you go to Spain? Did you go to the UK? We don't say didn't, right? It's a bit strange starting with didn't. Didn't we meet at Matt and Carol's wedding? So this conversational kind of question is good if you know the answer is yes, or if you think it's very likely, there's a high percentage that it's yes, you can just start with the negative question because the answer will be yes. Didn't we meet? You will say, yes, we did. I think we did. You can also use question tags. This is also common in conversational English. You're a lawyer, aren't you? You're a student, aren't you? You have that nice car, don't you? So these are question tags. Do you know question tags? Have you studied question tags before, like in Chums?
Yeah, I studied them.
Yeah, Malak, have
Yes,
you? Yeah.
yes, I studied it.
Yeah, they're common in conversation. Not very common in, I think, in grammar, in regular grammar, but in spoken English, they're common. All right, so all of these are simple expressions you can use to chat with people, to open conversations. They're nice, they're not too difficult, and they're useful. They're helpful if you want to chat to people in English. Now, let's go back. We have other expressions to check. So let's see them. Okay, now we did the part about starting conversations. Now, listen and practice just the sentences. Copy the stress. Let's skip this. We did enough stress, I think, for one day. All right, now here we have another track. So it says, listen to the ends of the conversations. Now we're going to do the opposite. We heard the start of the conversations, the beginning part. Now we're going to listen to their end. And we want to write the correct names here in the list, in the gaps, I mean. So listen to the ends of the conversations, fill in the gaps with the correct names. So I'm going to play the track for you and we are going to find out.
Track 11. 1.
My brother can show you around.
Great, thanks a lot. Oh, I'm sorry, someone's calling me. It was very nice to meet you, Natalia.
You too.
We should get together sometime, you know, with Carol and David.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Enjoy the party.
Thank you.
2.
I've had dinner there once or twice. The food is very good.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Thanks. Oh, here's my card. If you ever need a table, just give me a call. You might get a free glass of wine as well.
Thanks a lot. I'll remember that. Ah, there's Matt. Sorry, I need to ask him something. Nice meeting you, Jackie.
You too.
See you later, maybe?
Yes. See you.
3.
Liam just sits at his desk chatting to people on Facebook all day.
Hey, that's not true. Well, not all the time anyway. Oh, I'm sorry. There's an old friend that I need to say hello to. It's great to see you again, Amy.
And you. See you later.
Yes, see you.
Should we get some food?
Okay, so first thing, the numbers are not related to each other. So the numbers in the book are not related to the numbers in the conversation, okay? The reason for this, of course, is because the tracks, they come from a video. Do you understand? So there's a mismatch in the numbers. Let's see how many of these you got, and then I'm going to repeat it again for you, but this time I want you to ignore the numbers. Just focus on the information, and if you can, remember the names of the people. I'm going to show you the names, the photos of the people, just to remind you. This might help you. This is Liam, the lawyer. Okay. This is Carol. She works with him. This is Amy, Carol's sister. And of course, Amy and Liam met at Carol and Matt's wedding. So where's Matt? This is Matt. This means Matt and Carol are married. This is Natalia, the Spanish receptionist, the Spanish girl. Okay. Then we have the conversation between Ben and Jackie. Remember, Ben works with Matt at the studio. And Jackie is Matt's neighbor, Matt and Carol's neighbor, of course, because Matt and Carol, they're married, so they live together. So Jackie has the restaurant, the Italian restaurant, and Ben was talking to her. Okay, so are you familiar with the characters now? Do you remember who they are, the people?
Yeah.
All right, fine. Now this will help you, of course, in answering this question, but let me see your guesses. Maybe you got some of them right. I'm going to repeat it anyways, so don't worry. So number 2, who suggests meeting up in the future? Who? Can you remember?
I didn't remember who was talking to Natalie.
Okay. Who was talking to Natalie? Let me take you back to the photo. Matt was talking to Natalia. So do you think it's
okay,
Matt?
so it's Matt.
Maybe it's Matt. Maybe it's Matt. Okay. Let's say Matt. Let's say Matt. Maybe it really is Matt. So let's just write Matt. M for Matt. Okay. Who gives a business card? Do you remember? Who do you think it is? If you don't remember, that's okay. We're going to repeat it. What about who wants to talk to Matt about something? Who?
Ben.
Ben. Okay, so let's write. Let's say B, and then we'll see if it's right. Okay. What about who wants to go and say hello to an old friend?
I think Liam.
Maybe Liam.
Yeah, Liam.
And the last 2, I think the last one is the easiest one. Who?
Number 3 is Jackie.
Number 3 is Jackie, maybe. All right, so let's write J for Jackie. And the last one?
Oh, I didn't get it.
All right, so let's repeat the track. Let's see.
Track 11. 1.
My brother can show you around.
Great, thanks a lot. Oh, I'm sorry, someone's calling me. It was very nice to meet you, Natalia.
You too.
We should get together sometime, you know, with Carol and David.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Enjoy the party.
Thank you.
So is it correct? Is it Matt who suggests meeting in the future?
Yes.
It's correct, because he was the one chatting with Natalia. All right, good. So number 2 is correct.
2.
I've had dinner there once or twice. The food is very good.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Thanks. Oh, here's my card. If you ever need a table, just give me a call. You might get a free glass of wine as well.
Thanks a lot. I'll remember that. There's Matt. Sorry, I need to ask him something. Nice meeting you, Jackie.
You too.
See you later, maybe?
Yes. See you.
Okay, so Jackie, she's the one who gives the business card. This is correct. Who wants to talk to Matt?
Ben.
Ben. So it's correct. So these two are also correct. Okay, so until now, all of them are correct. Now let's see if Liam goes to say hello to an old friend. Let's see if this is true or not.
3.
Liam just sits at his desk chatting to people on Facebook all day.
Hey, that's not true. Well, not all the time anyway. Oh, I'm sorry. There's an old friend that I need to say hello to. It's great to see you again, Amy.
And you. See you later.
Yes, see you.
Is it correct? Liam wants to say hello to an old friend.
Yes.
It's correct. It's correct. Now let's listen to the last part, the very last part.
Should we get some food?
Who was Carol sitting next to? Because Liam, he left, right? He left to talk to his old friend. So who's left sitting?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Sure. Repeat the track or the question.
Oh no, the question.
Okay, my question was, Liam, he left to say hello to an old friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who was he sitting with? Who was he sitting next to?
Carol.
Carol and?
Carol
Amy.
and Amy.
So when Liam left, who was Carol talking to?
To Amy.
That's it. And if you see the last few seconds of the track, you can
Track
hear
11. 1.
Get some food.
Sorry.
Need to say hello to. It's great to see you again, Amy.
And you. See you later.
Yes, see you.
Should we get some food?
All right, did you get that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so this means the only two people left were Amy and Carol. They're the ones who were talking next to each other and they wanted to go get some food. All right, so so this was just, there's lots of listening if you noticed today, because listening is of course important like the other skills, but they want you to get used to, in this lesson, in the D lessons, they want you to get used to conversational English. So that's it for today. We'll finish this next time. Also, please, the workbook is really, really important. I know I sent it late, but the more you do of it, the better, because this way you'll get to answer everything you've done during the class, and this will help you, of course, with your overall English, okay?
Okay.
All right, so thank you, and I'll see you next time.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.